Hi, Sandra. This is Jesse from Lion Mental Health. Thank you so much for sending your dream request. I'm really excited to get to it because a couple things. I think a lot of people have this same kind of experience and can't really tell why. But also, I think it has such a meaningful interpretation that you'll probably get a lot out of. So let's just kind of jump right into it, right? So I've got my laptop here. And in the request, you said that your dreams always take place at your grandparents' house, which is where you grew up. For example, if I'm in my high school, it's actually the farm. If I'm at work, it's at the farm. And I haven't been in there for many years, but literally it haunts me. My brother has the same experience. We are both almost 50 years old, and this has been going on since we were young. We've always wondered the significance. So we have to kind of understand the way that the brain works. I know it's a little bit of a cliche, but Freud and some of the very old psychoanalysts, psychotherapists always talked about how we recreate our childhood experiences and everything kind of stems back to our relationship with our parents. Well, that's kind of true, especially when it comes to unconscious and dreams. So, for our mind, when we're thinking about a place that we grew up, we're thinking about our child mind, or at least somebody else's mind that we were interacting with at that stage or at that age. So, depending on the dream, and I'm sure you've had a lot of different dreams, and it sounds like it, a lot of different dreams, a lot of different themes and scenarios, but all kind of centered around this same place, this same time in your life. And so, what that can mean and the interpretation would be is whatever you're interacting with in that particular dream, because it's framed in the setting of your childhood home, it means that it's dealing with your childhood understandings, it's dealing with your childhood framework, your childhood state of mind. So that can be a lot of things. It can mean that you need to understand what is still left undone from your childhood, what sort of experiences have not been processed, or what unconscious sort of motivations for your behaviors you have that stem from childhood so you can move past them. It could also be that you're thinking about things that really relate to you in a core place. Maybe it's a trauma. Maybe this situation reminded you of a situation that you had when you were very young. It can be a whole host of things, but that's always what it kind of goes back to. I talk to people a lot about the dream symbol of a house, and this one kind of reminds me of it. A house is always a symbol for our mind. It's a setting. It's a place inside which we do our movement, inside which we live our day. Kind of the same way that as we go about our life, we always live inside of the framework of our own understanding. That's what's happening here too. And so that farm being a symbol for, well, just your childhood understanding, the way that you interacted with the world. And so I got to give credit to some of these older psychotherapists and psychoanalysts when they talk about our childhood experiences, because as we go throughout our life, we learn how to interact with the world and how to interact with people based on our very first interaction, which is with mom and dad, or whatever your raising guardian would be, right? Whatever person raised you, that's going to be your first relational experience. And so we kind of think to ourselves like, okay, mom was a very extroverted person. She was always making friends. She was always out doing stuff, having people over to the house. So, I know that if I want to relate to my mother or to my father, if he's like that, I need to relate in this certain way. And then we kind of carry that with us, right? So, kind of to get back to your dream, if you're thinking about the farm, you're thinking about these are the ways that I relate to the world. And I've been using them throughout probably the whole 50 years, right? Maybe there's something that needs to be developed there. Maybe it's time to kind of examine that and take a look and say, that worked and that got me through those tough situations when I was a kid, but maybe there's more to me than just that. Maybe there's other ways to relate to the world that are even more impactful to me, or even more authentic to me is probably the word I would use the most. That's what your brain is kind of trying to develop in there. And so it's this mesh, it's this mash between the dream content that you're dreaming, being at work or being at high school, whatever, and your childhood understanding, your way of thinking that was developed from your family of origin. That's kind of where the interaction happens. And I will say one other thing before I let you go, because this has been a fun one for me to work with. When it comes to specifically high school, oftentimes work dreams can be very stress related. I'm not saying for certain, but oftentimes I see that just kind of statistically, that's more stress related or confidence related. When it comes to high school dreams, I oftentimes, and I mean almost always, see high school dreams being dreams that really tell us about, how do I put this right? High school dreams are dreams that tell us about our identity formation. Because in high school, just kind of like when we're a child, we're kind of forced into a role, right? We're born in a certain birth order, we're born to a certain, parents or raising, the people that raised us. But in high school, we really get to start to develop and choose who we are. And so when I hear dreams about high school, they often have to do with who am I and how do I fit into the world? So because you're having both of those together, I think that's very interesting. I very much recommend, exploring that with a therapist, getting with a counselor, to kind of really dive into some specific dreams and see what they're trying to tell you. I mean, or you send me another request. Happy to help, whatever I can do to be there for you. Again, thanks so much for this. I think a lot of other people will get benefit from it as well. So if I can do anything else, just let me know. Leave me a little review. Always I send these as an email back. And you can email me back, leaving me a review to let me know what you thought. And we'll just keep in touch there. But anyways, Sandra, thank you so much. And I'll see you soon. Bye.